Hello and welcome back to Black Dice Gaming. So we've got a painting. I'm going to do some painting today. So this is the first time I've done some painting on the channel. This is the model I've decided to paint up for you all. Part of the Slaves to Darkness range, and it's my project that I'm working on at the moment, so we're going to give it a go. Again, just want to point out, don't expect too much from all of this, because I'm not a massively accomplished painter, but let's get on and see how we go. So the first colour I'm going to use is red, and we're going to start with his cloak. Okay, so just catching everything. Give it an undercoat of forge colours, matte black. Seems to be a lovely matte finish when it's applied, and the colour I'm using at the moment is Vallejo red. So I'm going to finish off his cloak, and then we'll come back and we'll do a little bit more. And there we go. So now we've got our red, or our first red on the model. We're going to move on and work on his fur. Probably also going to get the belts and buckles and boots all coloured in the same colour. Bash them all out at the same time. And for those that are interested, the colour I'm using is Vallejo's Leather Brown. Or at least for the first coat, it will be Vallejo's Leather Brown. So we're just going to go over all the fur. Okay, and his boots as well. Do all of his boots in the same colour. Okay, so I'm going to bash the brown out, and then I'll be back with the next colour. Okay, so we've got the brown on. Got the first coat of brown on. Looking not too shabby at the moment. So now I'm just going to put a gentle wash on the fur and the boots, just to create some definition, because I'm probably just going to dry brush from this point on, really. So there we go, just so it doesn't look so flat. You know, it's got a bit more to it now. We don't want anything too over the top. Just to sort of get in the nooks and crannies and create that bit of definition. Sorry if you can't tell, this is the first time I've done a video and painted at the same time, so it's difficult to concentrate on the two things at the same time. I certainly have a lot more respect for those that do it now that I know just how difficult it is. Let me just catch this other boot here. And then we are going to do, I am going to do just a touch on the belt as well. Okay. Right, so there we go. Not looking too bad. So the cloak is well and truly dry now. So what I'm planning on doing is downsizing the brush. And we're going to try and do some highlights. So I'm using a Fiston Red. I don't have many Citadel colours, I've got to admit. I do prefer Vallejo and Army Painter. So the idea here is just to kind of catch the edges. Like so. And then build up a little bit. At the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go through this and then I will show you the finished article. Okay, so with the red complete, I went ahead and coloured in this tassel as well. But there we go. So we've got our first sort of highlight on there, and I mainly concentrated on the edges and the creases that would hit the light. But you know, hopefully that's a good effect. I do intend on doing one more run over that, but we'll do that slightly later on. So my next task is to highlight the armor, which is the bit that I wasn't really looking forward to. So with this one, I've got a really fine detail brush. Jesus, gems. And I'm just gonna sort of catch all the edges of the armor to sort of give it a definition. Now this is probably going to be the most painstaking part of the model. Yeah, already I'm not too happy with how that's turned out. So there may be some tidying up that needs doing here. But the colour I'm using, where have you gone? There we are, is Vallejo's Basalt Grey. Okay, so just sort of catch that. And it's just a case of catching the edges. Hopefully in one sort of swift movement rather than jerky movements. I think the key when doing this is it's probably less is more. And there's also like little rivets as well that we should sort of catch in. Anyway, I'm not going to force you to watch all of this, so I shall fast forward and I'll see you when it's done. So there we go. We've gone ahead and done all the sort of grey highlighting that I planned on doing. It's not perfect, but it's as good as we're going to get. So Yes, it was painstaking. Yes, it's difficult, but it's a worthwhile step. So the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to do some metallics. We're going to look at the silvers. So what I want in silver is the chainmail down here at the front. So we're going to coat this in the metallics. So the metallic I'm using is my go-to is oily steel. It's one of my favorite metallics. It's not too silver, as some can be. It's not too bright. I'm just going to go in and work with steel. What I'm also going to do is sword in the silver. There is a bit of detail on the sword a little bit further down. I'm not sure you can quite catch it. There's like an arrow for the Chaos Undivided. So this may take a couple of coats. So I'll go around, do all the silver, and then we'll be back with the next step. Okay, so we got our silver done. That's gonna get a wash at some point with Nuln oil. But we're gonna move straight on and do some brass work. I say brass because that's the color that I tend to use for this. It's Vallejo Brass Laton in the old French. Okay, so as you can see, I've done all the chainmail. I've done his belt buckle. I've done some runes that were on his chest there. I didn't want to do too much gold. Oh, I've missed the chain on the shield. That's terrible. But I didn't want it to be too overloaded with kind of the brass colour. So okay, this. There we go. So just kind of catching those details there. There is a bit of detail on his sword, just here. That'll just break that up as well. Okay. Spin it around some more at the back. Okay, so again, I'll just fill in the brass here and we'll be back once that's done. Okay, so we've done our silver, we've done the brass, tidied up some of the mistakes that I made, and then filled in this chain that I'd missed on the shield. Then I give everything silver, a wash with Nuln oil. That's the staple of all of our palettes. So now we're going to do some highlighting to the boots. And for this, I am using flat brown. Focus. Yeah, so flat brown from Vallejo. And again, it's just very similar to what we did on the cape and on the armor. So we're just going to sort of catch the edge there. Okay, so you can see it's just a subtle change of color. And then we'll catch the under edge just here, like so. So I'm also probably going to do ever so slight work on the belt as well. There we are. I really need to work out camera angles when I'm doing this. Please bear with me. I will be doing more in the future, but I will be looking at ways in which I can improve. So if you feel like you've got any decent feedback, then please feel free. I am all ears, wanting to give the best possible experience for the viewer. Like I said, this was never meant to be any sort of tutorial or anything like that. It was purely just, this is how I do it. All right. Although, to be fair, I didn't know how I was going to do it because I've not actually painted Games Workshop models for many, many years now. But this was just a little series I was doing for my channel. Basically starting a new army from scratch. Okay. That's pretty much as far as I wanted to go really here. So we're just kind of looking at places where the light's going to hit naturally. And then just giving it a different hue. All right. Okay. So I'll get prepared and we'll start working on the horns. Okay, so what I did off camera was I picked out the rope holding the skull at the front here, and I did a little dry brush over the fur with the same color I used on the boots, which was the flat brown. So we're going to move on to the horns and that skull in the middle there. So let's just there we go. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give them a coating in what is it? It's Morghast bone. And then we'll probably just use a wash over that. Hoping that this kind of brings out a little bit of colour, because it's, I mean, quite a dull looking model at the minute. You know, I'm going to use this Morghast bone for the last sort of really light dry brush on the fur, just to sort of pick out the tips really. Okay, this is probably going to take a couple of coats because it's not covering particularly well. Try going on a little thicker. Okay, so you get the idea. I'm using the bone for the horns and the skull at the front, and once I've done that, we'll have a look at the next step. Okay, so we've coated it in the bone. We've done that very, very light dry brush to the fur, and I think that looks much, much better now. Also notice that there's this hand at the back here, so I've given that a coat in the bone as well. So now we're going to be using Army Painter Speed Paints, Pallid Bone. Now, I really do enjoy using speed paints because this is what they do. Maybe a little bit too much on brush here, so bear with me, I'll take a bit off. And then just absorb some of that excess there. So it gets into the little nooks and crannies here of this skeleton. It's like a bed, I think. And you can sort of see it's gathering in the right places. You can move it around. And touch it this side as well. There we go. When that dries, that would give you a really nice effect. So let's just do the same. I'm going to do this. I'm not sure how it's going to work on here really, but I mean, it's more of a zombie hand than it is a skeleton hand, but I'm sort of going to go for that skeleton vibe. There you go, you can see it's gone into all the sort of fingers there, and it's sort of give it a lot more definition. Okay, and then we're going to do the horns as well. And this really works on your textured sort of surfaces. Anything that's quite flat, it's not going to work as well on. You can see how it's kind of running into the areas of the horn that has detail, and because it's got so many edges, it naturally finds where it needs to be, just like that. Okay. And there we kind of go. So the next steps really are going to be the sort of highlighting stage. I've got another red in mind for the cloak. I've got Retributor Armor that I'm going to highlight the gold with. And then I'm also going to highlight the silver in Vallejo silver. So I'll get queued up and then we'll move on to that last phase. So we're back with the highlights now. Gonna do the red first, and I'm using Game Color Bloody Red. And this is just another simple sort of catch the edge, just to make it pop even more. We are just kind of really just hitting those edges. It doesn't have to be too sort of, you don't want it too uniform. And then this one here. Yeah, you really don't want it too uniform. just a bit of ragging at the bottom, where it's maybe trilled across the floor and things, and it's just kind of lost a bit of its colour. Also use this step just to sort of neaten up anywhere where you've obviously missed where the red should have caught. Okay. Be careful not to sort of overdo this step as well. Okay, that's probably as good as we're going to get there. I'm just going to do a little bit of touching on here. Nothing too... Just want it to have a bit of depth, because that's only had one sort of layer on it. And then we're just going to catch the edge of this side as well. Okay, there we go. So that'll look quite nice when it's dry. So I'm going to clean my brush, and then we're going to move straight on to silver. And this is the Vallejo silver I mentioned. And we're just going to sort of run across the edges again on any of the metal parts. Just to give it a nice bit of shine. And so it stands out from the Nuln oil. That kind of brought the colour back down again. I mean, oily steel is quite a dark colour anyway, but it's nice just to bring it up again a little bit. Okay. Little touch on the hilt here and here, and then a little dabble on the chain at the bottom there. So this is where you probably want to sort of just pick out a few little areas where you just want to brighten it up slightly. And just drag it across the chain mill. You don't really want too much on the chain mill, because you don't want to lose that definition. Just like I did just then. Gone and put too much on my brush. Really, you just want to sort of pick out the edges if you can, but I've really messed up in the middle there. I'll touch on the belt buckle. Okay. And then we've got the chain on the on the shield, which I completely missed first time round. And again, you just want to sort of pick out the few edges here and there. Like so. Okay. So clean that off, and now we're going to do something very similar with the what's it called again? Retributor Armor. So all in all, I think I used about 3 or 4 different Games Workshop colours. Rest with Vallejo, and the army painter, wasn't it, that I used. Okay, so on this one, again, we're just sort of picking out a few little bits and bobs. Sort of edge, sorry, I just knocked the camera in, sorry. Edges. Just to give it, just to lift it slightly, because the brass is quite a dull colour. So all we're doing is just introducing that little bit more colour. Okay, and a little bit on the shield here. Again, it's just about brightening and highlighting up. So, I mean, it's certainly not perfect, but, you know, we're sort of tabletop ready at that, you know. No idea what I'm doing with the bases yet, so that part's not going to happen tonight. All in all, what it took me, I'll say about 2 hours all in all to do this. But I've got another 9 of them that I need to knock out because I've only done 1 tonight. But they'll all be very similar, and I'm sure by the time I finish the 10th one, the standard will be much, much better. Okay. So, as always, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, then please drop them in the comments below. I do answer every message I get. If you've got any tips for me, that's also interesting. Just give us a shout. Let's share it with the community. This is what it's about building community, making new friends, and hopefully we can help each other out and all become better people and better modelers and gamers at the end of it. But like I say, please get in touch if I can do anything more. Okay, and I shall leave it at that. Take care now.